because we've had so many opportunities to deal with young people. And many of them, most of the time, you see them, it's almost as if they've got their chin on the floor and as if the entire world is falling in on them, yet they seem to be in some of the most favorable situations. For example, they're involved in education, they're involved, you know, there's a terrific outlook in terms of the possibilities of what they might be able to obtain and et cetera, yet and still they are depressed. I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, that's a very good question, because it raises a question, what really determines how I feel about myself? What really determines my self-esteem? What really determines the quality of my inner experience? The quality of my experience of myself and my other people and my relationship to other people. And I maintain, and I'm not alone in this, that it's not just education. It is not just income level. It is not just the quality of home that I live in. It is not just my physical appearance. It is not just what other people think and say about me, all right? It is, I believe, a reflection of my relationship to God. I think that's the key that determines the quality of my inner experience. And so if I don't have a growing or a positive relationship with God, then most likely I'm going to be in some condition of despair, which will often manifest as depression. So then, example, a few years ago, there were about 3 suicides, I think, in someplace in Texas, one of the suburbs. I think it was outside of Houston, I'm not quite sure. In any event, these kids were from solidly middle-income families, and by most standards have had everything, okay? But I'm convinced that they killed themselves because they really did not have what I would call a growing or a positive relationship with God, and that determines the quality of a person's experience.
They had a lot of material things. Is that what we're saying?
Exactly.
It's possible to acquire a lot of material things, but yet and still there's something that's missing, and that element you believe to be the relationship that...
The relationship with God. In other words, you can be materially affluent, but spiritually very impoverished. And I'm suggesting that that spiritual affluence, okay, is much more important than material affluence. An example, we don't know yet whether or not poor people have a higher prevalence rate of depression compared to middle income and upper income people. To my knowledge, there have been no studies done. Okay, there is some suggestion that poor people, but for a lot of reasons, manifest more sadness, have perhaps a lower morale, maybe, okay, but we don't know whether or not they manifest more depression. I don't think they do. I think that poor people don't have manifest as much depression. One example is the suicide rate among the middle and upper income group is higher than among the poor.
Very good.
Okay? And I also believe that the level of despair is deeper among middle and upper income group than among poor income group, and yet look at the differential in terms of income and material resources. So you see there are some other things going on here other than just, there's, in other words, what determines whether or not I enjoy life, the quality of my life, is much more than just material things.
Good, very good. And of course, Dr. Poe, we're getting ready for our first commercial break, but I think you've raised some questions in reference to the types of depression and et cetera that we certainly want to follow up on. And we also would like for you, during this second segment, to bring in some information that you gave us and tie it in dealing with suicides, because I think you talked about the various ranges and et cetera, that kind of information, because I think that would be very, very valuable for us within the context of what you're talking about now. And so we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.